Hello Glamour Ghouls and welcome back. If you are new here, my name is Midge Munster and on this channel we do all things campy, kooky, glamorous, and spooky. It feels good to be back. If you've been keeping up on my other social media, you know that my husband and I got COVID and are still recovering over a week later. We're doing okay, but we're very tired and I don't have much of a voice, so please forgive me. I'm trying to bump my audio today as much as I can and forgive my less glamorous appearance. But I am really excited to share today's video. As y'all know, I recently got back from Midsummer Scream, which is a Halloween and horror convention in Long Beach, California. I had the privilege of meeting up with about 10 of my spooky friends from all across the United States out there, and we got to spend several lovely days together just fully immersed in our love for Halloween and horror. It was truly one of the most special, incredible trips of my life, and I'm so glad that I was able to vlog so much of it to share with you. So today I will be sharing that footage with all of you, as well as doing a quick little haul of all the stuff I got while out in California. But before we get started today, I do want to take a moment and thank our sponsor, HelloFresh. Y'all know I have been working with HelloFresh for quite some time, and it is one of the best services I have ever used. It has made my life so much easier, especially as we're going into the fall season. I know so many of you, like me, will have plans every day in September and October trying to make the most out of our spooky season. HelloFresh can help you make the most of your time by sending delicious pre-portioned ingredients right to your door, with most meals being on the table in just 30 minutes or less. And HelloFresh is up to 72% cheaper than dining in a restaurant or shopping at a grocery store, which puts more money in your pocket for fall activities. Not to mention that the meals are absolutely delicious. I have yet to have a meal from HelloFresh that I did not enjoy. And you all know my husband is a bit of a picky eater, but he loves every meal I cook with HelloFresh. I personally love that because all of the ingredients are pre-portioned, it helps us eat what we have in our fridge and waste less food, which helps us eat more sustainably. And HelloFresh is the first carbon neutral meal delivery company, and almost all of the packaging is recyclable. So if you are ready to save yourself time and money, click the link in my description box below or go to hellofresh.com and use the code MidgeMunster16 for 16 free meals across 7 boxes and 3 free gifts. That's 16 free meals and 3 free gifts with code MidgeMunster16 at hellofresh.com. Thank you so much to HelloFresh for sponsoring today's video. And now, without further ado, I would love to share with you my footage from my trip to Midsummer Scream. I started my trip to LA with Penny and Miranda. We spent our first day hitting some shopping spots in the Burbank area. First, we went to Traditions, which, if you're not familiar with Traditions, you absolutely need to look them up. It is an awesome year-round holiday store. If you want to check them out, you can shop with them online. I have pretty frequently. In fact, I get most of my Joanna Parker through Traditions. They carry lots of awesome folk artists and stock really unique pieces for every holiday. It was really, really cool to be able to see everything that they have to offer in person. I will say Traditions is not for the ghoul on a budget. A lot of the items that they carry are collector's pieces, and so they are on the pricier side. However, anything that you buy from Traditions is going to be an investment and something that will last you a really long time. So if you are at the part of your collection where you're looking for larger, more staple, like long-lasting pieces, Traditions is your place. You can see some Laurie Mitchell decor here. It took everything in my power not to buy that Beetlejuice looking door. If you are a Halloween fanatic like so many of us, you may have seen this archway with the Wicked marquee sign before on Instagram and things. This is Tradition's sort of infamous Halloween section in their store. The thing that I particularly love about Traditions is that they have so many vintage inspired and vintage looking decor options. Vintage Halloween is incredibly hard to find, and when you do find it, it is wildly expensive because there just wasn't that much made. So products like these bubble light pieces or a lot of these like paper mache old trick-or-treat bucket looking options look like they could be straight out of the late 50s, and it's so cool. We've got some Bethany Low pieces over here. And here's some of that kind of paper mache vintage looking pieces that I'm talking about. So creepy and cool. I absolutely adore these giant creepy candy corns. If I had had a way to get them back home to KC with me, I would have snapped one up. I also really love this artist. He's going to be featured here on the left in this shelf, and I'll show some pieces up close. These pieces are from Charles McClenning, and his style is so cool. I love the flames in the eyes. I actually bought my mom this Headless Horseman guy last year for her birthday. And of course, like I said, they carry a lot of Joanna Parker. There's Miranda showing us that she's still spooky. Joanna Parker, as far as the eye can see. I have been wanting so many of these pieces for a long time. Again, it was very hard not to snap these up, but how am I gonna get porcelain home? I've been looking for these little candy corn salt and pepper shakers forever. So cute. I also love all these vintage looking pumpkin buckets. I thought this one looked a lot like Clavicle Mound Shroud from the Halloween tree, which y'all know I'm obsessed with. Look at how surprised this one is. I think he's so cute. So after spending a long time looking at everything they had to offer, we finally left Traditions and headed for Magnolia Boulevard in Burbank. If you're not from Burbank, this is kind of the area that has the most to offer shopping-wise, especially if you are a spooky or a vintage babe. The first stop was for Penny and I to see the Besame Store. Besame is an awesome company that recreates vintage makeup for modern wear. My personal favorite is their lipstick. I own a lot of their lipstick. They recreate popular shades from history, and when you buy the lipstick tube, it tells you what year the shade is from, which is so cool. Their store also had an awesome display of vintage products for you to look at and kind of see the history of makeup all laid out. Once we finished up there, we headed down the street to the Mystic Museum. I had my fortune told by Ghostface. This was really cool. They had an old kind of Zoltar machine that they've refurbished to have Ghostface. It even talks in his voice and has a little dagger. I got my fortune read, and it was very ominous, of course. Then we just spent time looking around the shop they have here. They had lots of items for witchcraft and all kinds of oddities, plus lots of modern spooky wares to browse as well. This shop has two sides. This part, I believe, is called the Bearded Lady, which is more of the oddities and curiosities. And on the other side, they have their shop Camp Horror, which is more of their modern items and has a lot of modern horror and slasher themed objects to look through. They also had lots of spooky displays and photo ops around the store. I didn't get a photo of it, but one of my favorites was a tent set up in a corner that had a Blair Witch kind of setup. Lots of really fun opportunities to take pics for the gram. But the really fun part of this was their 90s slasher installation. I also sprung for this interactive dagger, which you could use to stab different parts of the exhibit and make them move or play games with you. If you know me, you know 90s slasher films are my horror sweet spot, so I had so much fun playing around in this exhibit. The first thing you see when you walk in is the kitchen from Scream, and they have all the details from the Jiffy Pop to the knives, and you get to play horror trivia with Ghostface on the phone. Press 13 if I want to play? No. I do like scary movies. Scream! After playing some trivia and not getting stabbed, we headed into Stu's living room. They had it set up exactly like the party scene from the first film, and the attention to detail was awesome. Something really cool about this exhibit as well is that there are art pieces featured all over from different artists that you can purchase. All of them were related to the slasher exhibit, which was very cool. They even had the rules of how to successfully survive a horror movie painted right here on the wall. And of course, Miranda said, "I'll be right back," breaking a cardinal rule right here in Stu's living room. In the next room, we got to meet Mr. Candyman. This was a really cool display, and with the interactive dagger, once you stabbed the beehive to his right, it did a very cool light display, lighting up the entrance to the next room, and caused a swarm of bees to be projected on the wall as well. The attention to detail here again was awesome. Lots of candy and honey dripping everywhere. I was so thrilled with what they did with this exhibit. Over here we had a Chucky display, which is, y'all know I am a huge Child's Play fan. I loved that this was the little setup from Tiff's trailer. I definitely spent a good amount of time here taking photo ops. And of course we have Samara. Now this one I had to have Miranda stab the VHS player next to her on the TV here because this one just scares me too bad. But Miranda was brave and got back in there with Samara in her well. And then the smoke started going off and we both got spooked. And in the last room, the whole back room was dedicated to I Know What You Did Last Summer, which is, in my opinion, an extremely underrated film, so I was really excited to see it represented here. Sarah Michelle deserved better. And that was the end of this exhibit. I had a lot of fun. I'm not sure how long that exhibit is there, but if you get the chance or you're in the Burbank area, definitely go check it out. It is worth your time and money. So with a quick spin of the wheel, we finished our time at the Mystic Museum and headed down Magnolia. We made a quick pit stop at Play Clothes. I had heard a lot about this shop before. We went in just to see what they had. It's a very cool store. The building is absolutely gorgeous, but unfortunately, as is the case with most vintage stores, there were very few options for plus-size folks. But I'm glad we stopped in. It was still very cool to see so many beautiful, true vintage pieces on display. Then we popped down to Slashback Video. This is an extension of the Mystic Museum, made to look like an old video store, specifically a horror video store, and I loved this place. They had so much cool memorabilia, and they definitely had a video store vibe with old candy and soda and things from the 90s. So much fun. Plus in the back they had a ton of fun photo ops, and the nostalgia factor was just through the roof. They had another room in the back as well that had a few more photo ops from Evil Dead, The Shining, Addams Family, Beetlejuice, which I was very excited to see, and more. I do unfortunately believe that we were here on one of the last days that this exhibit was open. I am so glad that we got to see it, but unfortunately, if you did not get to see it, I believe it is gone now, but they are putting something new in this space very soon. One of our last stops of the day was the mothership, the Vixen store. Those of you who have been around on the channel for some time know that almost all of my clothes are from Vixen or their sister company, La Femme en Noir. So it was so fun to see everything in person, try on some outfits, and of course do some retail therapy. And then lastly, we popped into Unique Vintage to see their Halloween collection as well. Did I buy clothes here too? Yes. Yes, I did. On to day 2. This was one of my favorite days of the trip. We started off the day at the Hollywood Museum, which is in the old Max Factor building. Max Factor was the big name in makeup during the golden age of Hollywood, and this building has a lot of his original makeup products on display, as well as all kinds of things that belonged to Hollywood starlets. For example, here are some of Lucille Ball's Emmys, for example. This was very cool to see. They have different rooms dedicated to each hair color. The blonde's room, of course, was mostly dedicated to Marilyn Monroe, and they had some of her original outfits as well as her makeup, etc. We also got to see this weird contraption in the blonde's room that was made for putting on makeup somehow, even though it looks like a medieval torture device. But my favorite room, no surprise here, was the redhead's room. They had Lucy's personal makeup on display, as well as Rita Hayworth's personal vanity set. So gorgeous, isn't it? After the Hollywood Museum, we spent the afternoon strolling through the Hollywood Forever Cemetery. This cemetery is absolutely gorgeous and houses many famous folks in their garden of legends, like Johnny Ramone, Patrick Swayze, Hattie McDaniel, and Burt Reynolds. They had a lot of really unique graves here, like the pyramid that you saw earlier, and they also had this adorable couch memorial headstone covered with puppy dogs. We also found Mila Nurmi, or also known as Vampira, her grave, and paid our respects to this horror icon. I've never much liked the idea of being buried, but I see why folks would want to be buried here. It is so peaceful, the lake in the middle is absolutely beautiful, and if that's your shtick, there are peacocks roaming free in the cemetery to keep the ghosts company. Possibly my favorite stop of the day was actually recommended to us by my friend Ashlita, and I cannot thank her enough because this was so cool. This is the Academy Museum of Motion Pictures, and I cannot recommend this enough if you are a film lover. The first exhibit was about the history of moving pictures, and they had all of these thaumatropes on display. My fellow Sleepy Hollow lovers will think that's as cool as I did. I was also fascinated by these machines called phantasmagoria lanterns that illusionists would use to tell ghost stories. I will definitely be doing a podcast episode about these very soon. Today was the day that we had our reservation at Beetle House, and so all of us were dressed very Burton-esque, and people that worked at the museum kept saying, "Have you been up to the 3rd floor yet?" When we finally got up there, we were met with an amazing original claymation set from Nightmare Before Christmas, as well as Frankenweenie. Frankenweenie is actually one of my favorite Burton films, even though it's one of his lesser known. I've always been a huge claymation nerd, so seeing these and the original Fantastic Mr. Fox pieces was absolutely insane. But not as insane as what was in the next room. In this room, they had props and costumes from some of my favorite movies on display. I love practical effects, so seeing this helmet from Alien was crazy. Look at the detail in this. Isn't it stunning? They also had the prosthetics and costume from The Shape of Water, which close up was absolutely stunning. And then, from across the room, I saw him. The original Edward Scissorhands costume. I fully sobbed standing in the presence of this incredible piece. You could sit here and literally look at the details on this piece for hours. It is truly something to behold. They also had Gary Oldman's costume from Dracula. And this miniature manor from the Batman movies. Moving into the next room, they had several screen pieces from The Wizard of Oz on display. This is my favorite movie of all time. I literally feel like this movie raised me, so I was pretty emotional seeing all of these, especially Margaret Hamilton's original witch hat. The last room on this tour had pieces from some modern horror classics, including the full May Queen dress from the end of Midsummer, which was completely arresting in person. It was huge and so detailed. They also had Lupita Nyong'o's jumpsuit from Jordan Peele's Us, which was very cool. As I mentioned, we finished our day at Beetle House. Now, I have been to the one in New York before, but honestly, the LA one was so much more fun. This time was a full interactive dinner experience from start to finish. We started outside in this little waiting area, which was so aesthetic, and even for a kind of catch-all room, this had so much detail put in it. We had a quick drink out here before being led into the Netherworld by a beautiful demon woman who escorted us to our table. There was something to look at no matter which way you turned in here. This is only the first room, and already I couldn't keep my eyes off of every little detail on the walls. As you can see, this room had an Oogie Boogie display and the trees from Nightmare Before Christmas. They had Beetlejuice and different horror clips playing all around the room. And if that wasn't enough, we had costume performers entertaining us all evening. The guy playing Beetlejuice was fantastic, and Miss Argentina, who was the other performer, absolutely slayed it all night, singing her face off. And the food was surprisingly delicious. I started the evening with some shrimp cocktail from the Dietz's dinner party and had the Sweeney steak, and yes, I got to keep the razor. At last, my arm is complete again. This was the perfect way to cap off an amazing day, but we were definitely tired and ready to start the main event. So the next day, we packed up and headed to Long Beach and met up with some of our other spooky pals to start
1, 2, 3, say Midsummer Scream!
Midsummer Scream! Finally, after years of wanting to attend this convention, I was finally here. I won't lie to you, when I first walked in and got down to the showroom floor, I was completely overwhelmed. It's like walking into 200 Spirit Halloweens all at the same time. There was so much to look at. Luckily, Friday night was reserved for checking out the vendors on the floor and just looking around, so we got to take our time and just explore. I got to meet some of my favorite makers, like Backstitch Bruja, who makes the most amazing purses, and got introduced to lots of new makers as well. I got to see this 12-foot disco skeleton, hand-mirrored by drag queen Mr. He. How freaking cool is that? I got to meet my favorite guy, and we spent the rest of Friday evening making our way through all of the vendors on the floor. Day 2 started off strong with a trip to the Hall of Shadows. This was probably my favorite part of Midsummer Scream, honestly. The Hall of Shadows is where all of the haunters show off their work. This felt like Halloween to me. It was the absolute perfect blend of spooky with a little bit of scary. Everyone's ideas and concepts were so fun and creative and really, really well fleshed out. And it was just so cozy to bask in the October glow of it all, with all the little houses lit up for trick-or-treating. Speaking of trick-or-treat, this display, oh my gosh, I squealed when I saw it. It was a great crossover between Trick or Treat and Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, which in my opinion are two of the best and campiest horror films of all time. I mean, look at this display. How fun is that? And look at the little bus kids hiding back here. I could not get enough of this display. I definitely stayed there for probably too long. There were also lots of amazing prop designers and artists in the Hall of Shadows as well. Like, look at this crazy jack-o'-lantern portrait artist. From large-scale haunts like this Bone Gulch, which was super fun and Western themed, to smaller front porch haunts like this Gremlin's house, all I can say is that I felt completely inspired by the Hall of Shadows, and I could not wait to get home and start decorating my own yard. We were having so much fun already, and we didn't even know what we were in for next. As we were leaving the Hall of Shadows, one of my lovely subscribers, Claudia, stopped us to take a picture when we realized that she was standing in line to meet the Christine McConnell. We had no idea Christine was back here, and apparently neither did most people, because there were only 4 people waiting in line to meet her before us. Meeting Christine was amazing. She was so kind and spent so much time talking to each of us. She asked me if we had met before, and I laughed and said I wish. And after getting the chance to talk to her and getting her autograph, we attended Christine's panel, which was so incredible. I'm going to show you a couple of clips from her panel, as well as all of us singing her happy birthday, because it was her birthday this weekend. How cool is that?
And I'll tell you a secret about this. I actually shot the photo in my driveway and went to the cemetery and photoshopped the cemetery. Blended them together because I just felt like I'm new to this town. If they see me like looking around bodies, I'm not gonna make any friends.
Happy birthday, dear Christine. Happy birthday to you.
After Christine's panel, we went to a horror drag show called Night of the Living Drag, hosted by Peaches Christ. This was a blast. I didn't know that I needed Sam drag in my life, but after this incredible performance by Lux the drag queen, I will never be the same. This show was so fun and funny. All the queens were amazing. One of my favorite numbers was a horror take on the Sisters number from White Christmas by Dragpool. This one literally had me in stitches. Next, I got the pleasure of attending a live podcast recording with Girl That's Scary. If you're not already listening to Jazz and Cat, you need to be. Go, add them to your queue right now. The other best part of this day was that our friend Bianca from Spooky Melon and Magic surprised us all by taking the red eye in from New York. And with that, we had almost the entire Samhain Society together in one place for the first time.
Midsummer Scream!
With the whole group in tow now, we finished off the day with the Midsummer Scream after party. People wore awesome costumes, and this guy had a crazy cool clown puppet. Candyman was positively breaking it down when we first got in, and while it took us all a while, we warmed up to the music pretty quickly once they started playing spooky tunes. Honestly, as amazing as the entire conference was, nothing compares to spending time with all of my incredible spooky friends. Having all of us in one place was a truly magical experience, and I'm so thankful for them and their friendship. As the night went on, Devin found himself a dance partner. And Eric and Chelsea from Sips and Spirits showed us all how it's done. My absolute favorite part of this evening was watching these two cosplayers who were dressed as the ghosts from 13 Ghosts dancing together. Honestly, this clip pretty much summarizes what Midsummer Scream is like. Sadly, all good things must come to an end, and so begins our last day at Midsummer Scream. Penny and I started the day at the Museum of Halloween, which is definitely a part of my matrix. This area had so many true vintage Halloween pieces to look at, and I learned so much. Look at this dress. I absolutely need it. This exhibit highlighted some of my favorite parts of vintage Halloween, like old blow molds, Ben Cooper and College Town masks and costumes, and Halloween board games. Did y'all know that there's a Dark Shadows board game? I didn't before now, and now I absolutely need to find it. Attached to this part of the museum was also a display of all these amazing artists who had done special pieces for Midsummer Scream. And they were all for sale, which was really cool. I was most excited to see one of my favorite artists, Olivia Faust, represented here. Next, Penny and I were on to another panel called Making Horror Fun Again, featuring two of my all-time favorite writers, Brian Fuller, who wrote my favorite show ever, Pushing Daisies, and Kevin Williamson, who, of course, wrote the Scream franchise. We got right in the front row and got to look at this awesome stage setup, which was so stunning to look at while we waited for the panel to start.
We have Kevin Williamson. Anybody know Kevin? Yeah, we got the Scream fans in the house. Besame Scream, Vampire Diaries, any of those things? Hell yeah. All right, well, here we are. How's everybody doing? Good? We're excited? I'm excited too.
Monster cereals was my first literal taste of horror, and I loved that it was kind of queer because Dracula and Frankenweenie are boyfriends. So that was the first time that I had child-friendly, and I was like 4 when I was eating this, so I was like, I like this, whatever this is.
We didn't know what we were doing at the time, but we just kind of were having fun. And so it all kind of came together. It was very special. And you just knew you were making something special. No one might see it, but it felt special. And it turned out okay.
Day to you. Happy birthday, dear Penny. Happy birthday to you.
After getting the best birthday present of all time, Brian Fuller singing happy birthday to Penny, Bianca, James from That Halloween Bro, and I decided to go through some of the walkthrough haunts in the Hall of Shadows. Please enjoy this ridiculous footage.
He didn't come. It's okay. He was just a little skeleton man. Ooh. Hey, Bubby. It's a vibe. Come on! It's the vibe. It's the vibe. Ooh. Oh, this is cool.
I was really listening. Oh my God, this is amazing.
Whoa! Hello. Did you just get the shit scared out of you? A little witchy lady. Ooh, she got her cauldron.
I wasn't ready.
Ooh.
I love it. Yes.
This is gorgeous. Oh my god, cool! Cool.
Can I do my
Of course.
memory?
Yes! Oh my god, is that Halloween Bro? Oh, this is cool. Oh, she's spooky, scary skeleton.
A mess.
That was so fun.
Thank you.
Thank you. Corona hot.
Get out of the guy inside. Let this one be and then get the house out.
Wow, that is so beautiful. Thank you. Thank you very much.
She wants to be tall.
You just got ripped for filth, Bianca.
I did.
He says she wants to be tall. You see her duck.
Oh, don't read me like that.
Oh, fuck. I don't like how dark this is. Nope. Oh, spooky, scary spider boy. I like this gentleman with the light behind me. Thank you, sir.
Yes. Come on, Mike.
This is cool though. Hi. A bitch dropped her sunglasses and everything, Jeremy. Wait, that's cool as fuck though.
That's so dope. You got it.
You got it. Oh my god. That hand fucked my shit up.
It's a damn leaf.
I know, one touched me. I was like, bitch, what are you?
What happened to leaf?
why they do that though.
Big toss.
Oh, I'm gonna be bad at this. Okay. Here you go. I got one? Woohoo! I got one! You got it, Bianca. You got it. Oh, oh, oh.
It's alright, it's alright, it's alright. I still, you know, I got
She's
it.
not a jock. She's not a jock. Was this like your fortune?
For you, a pretty home.
Okay. Oh, yes. Let's see. Number 10, what do we get? In your life, through all the years, there's no sorrow and no tears. Joke's on them. After the Hall of Shadows, we wrapped up by heading downstairs to say goodbye to all of our friends, old and new. And we ended the day with a lovely dinner celebration of Penny's birthday and the end of the best weekend ever. With such an amazing weekend full of friendship and spooky things, it's hard to pick a favorite part. But what I can tell you is that one of the best parts of my weekend was getting to meet so many of you. Thank you all so much for making my weekend so special and for supporting my weird little corner of the web. So there you have it. That is my trip in a nutshell. Like I said several times, this experience was one of the most incredible trips I've ever taken in my life. Getting to experience something like this with people who I love, who also love what I love as much as I love it, was honestly so magical, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. So I know this video is getting a little long, but I know so many of you are going to want to see what I came home with from the conference. So I'm going to try to do a quick little haul and show you what I came home with from California. So first things first, I did buy one thing at Traditions Store in Burbank area. I don't know why, but these just spoke to me and I had to have them, and they were pretty easy to transport. So they are these little vampire man candles with faces. I just thought they were so cute. I love that they kind of look like perturbed. And I don't think it's going to show up on camera, but you can turn the little flame on and it flickers. I just thought these were really fun and unique. They are by Transpac, and I did find them online, so I will link them in the description box below in case anyone is interested. But I'm doing something a little bit different with my dining room this year, and so I was on the lookout for pieces I could use, and I thought these would go perfectly with my theme. Next, as you know, we went to the Mystic Museum, which was definitely one of my favorite parts of the trip, and so I had to get a shirt from the Mystic Museum. This is a little cropped top that just says Mystic Museum in this delightful, spooky, kind of glow-in-the-dark green shade. There's nothing really like crazy special about this, but I wanted to show it because it's cute. And like I said, the Mystic Museum was definitely one of my favorite parts of our time in the like LA area. Like I mentioned in the footage, I don't know when that slasher exhibit is like done. I know it's been there since I think April or May, so it's been there a little while, which means they're probably getting ready to cycle it out soonish. So if you have the chance or you live in that area, definitely go check it out. It was super fun. Okay, now on to stuff I actually got at the convention. This first thing is kind of small, but there was a booth selling rings, and I had to get a couple of rings. As I've mentioned a couple times before, I am doing a gender bent like Eddie Munson cosplay and probably being Eddie for Halloween. So I've been looking for the perfect rings for that costume, and These are pretty spot on. I definitely, of course, still need a third one, but I thought those were pretty perfect. We'll go into some art here. I bought quite a bit of art, and speaking of Eddie, I bought a print from artist Abe of kind of this like gender bent pinup Eddie. I absolutely love Abe. If you don't know, all of this art on this wall and like several of the pieces on my bookshelf are all from Abe. So I'm a big fan of his art, and it was really cool to meet him in person. He recognized me and we got to talking. He was so nice, so friendly. But I love this little Eddie piece. I think it's so cute. I got a lot of art, y'all. I was kind of laughing at myself because so much of this art has a similar theme, and you'll kind of see moving forward. But the first piece I bought was the piece that Olivia Faust did for Midsummer Scream in the Halloween Museum. I had to get a print of this because it is so beautiful, and my understanding was that she will not be selling this outside of Midsummer Scream. This was a Midsummer Scream exclusive, and I have several pieces of Olivia's art around my studio as well, and this one is just like the perfect little glamour ghoul. Like, she's so spooky and pretty, and I love her 60s bouffant hairdo. I love the color play of her kind of bluish skin with the orange. It's just really beautiful. So I can't wait to, if you watched my studio tour, you know I started a gallery wall on this wall behind y'all here, and I ran out of art about halfway down. So I definitely bought enough new art to start filling up the rest of the gallery wall. Very excited about that. This piece, I'm not finding, I thought I put his card in the back here, but I didn't. I'll throw his name up on the screen, but this artist does really beautiful like big eyes portraits. Like, it's a very specific style. You'll know exactly what I'm talking about when you see it. But he did this beautiful one of Elvira, and I had to get it. She just looks so hauntingly pretty, and I love the little like skeleton hands on the bodice of her dress. And then, like I said, there was definitely a theme to the art I bought this day. This was so funny because I bought all three of these pieces kind of back to back and didn't realize it. This piece is from Lucky Hellcat, and again, kind of has the big eyes, but it's this adorable print of Elvira and Vampira listening to a record together while bats like fly around them. I love this print. The pink obviously goes very well with my studio, so I knew I had to have it in here. Plus, I love seeing them get along. If you don't know, Elvira and Vampira were kind of notoriously rivals even up till Mila Nurmi's death. So I like to imagine them hanging out and listening to a record together and having a good time. But yeah, I bought all three of these within like an hour of each other, and they all are like spooky bouffant hair 60s ladies. So I definitely have a type of art that I'm into, and I didn't know. Next up is a piece from an artist I had not heard of, and I really liked their art. This is Ghoulish Bunny Studios by Diana Levin, and I got this cute little print of these Venus flytrap, like spooky Audrey 2 plants in these colorful pumpkins. I just thought this was really fun. I liked the colors, and I have a real like affinity for spooky plants. It's just something I really like. It's something I tried to incorporate in this room because I call it my spooky Palm Springs room, and so I wanted like plants and foliage, and the pastel blue and pink obviously go very well with what I've got going on in here. I knew it would, so I had to grab that one. Very cute. I could have bought several pieces from Ghoulish Bunny. Very cool art style. Next, y'all know I had to buy some more art from Carrie Hudson. If you saw one of my latest like haul videos, I think, I shared some stuff that was sent to me by different folks, and Carrie had sent me some of her spooky Tiki art. Well, I bought more because I love I love her spooky Tiki art. So the first one is, of course, a Hellfire Club Tiki drink. I love this. I love that it's got the bats coming out of it. That is the exact shape of Eddie's tattoo. It's got the little D20 down at the bottom there. And I don't know if you can see on camera, but the D20 is on number 11. If you are new here and you're not familiar with my deep obsession with Stranger Things and Eddie Munson, welcome. And then the other two pieces I got from this line are the Beetlejuice Tombstone Tiki drink with the carousel umbrella. How freaking cool is that? I love this one so much. And then I also got this little Witch's Cauldron Brew tiki beverage as well. So 3 new ones. I think I had 3 or 4 to begin with, so we're going to have quite the Carrie Hudson wall in the tiki bar very soon. Okay, and then kind of lastly in the art department, this is an artist named Austin Pardon, and he is one of my favorite Halloween artists. He does very like vintage print, like pulp art kind of style. And so I did end up, I wasn't going to, but I saw several of my friends buy his book, and then I was like, oh, I really want that. So it's like a coffee table book that just has all of his kind of his best hits in here. I'm really glad I got this. His art is just so specific and beautiful. If you've ever shopped with Halloween T-shirt company, you've probably seen Austin's art. It's all over their stuff. He has kind of a partnership with them, but yeah, I'm excited to have this little coffee table book. And then I did buy a print from him as well because this was too cool not to have. And he didn't have it the first day, and the second day when I was there, he had like just put it out, and I was so glad I came back to his booth. It is this Goosebumps print with all the kind of famous Goosebumps monsters coming out of a book, and I love this so much. I love that it's all in purple and green. It's just very Goosebumps, very spooky. And I have a perfect spot for this coming up very soon, so I'm really excited that he had this. While we're kind of in the art vein still, I mentioned this print of Elvira and Vampira is from Lucky Hellcat. Many of you know Lucky is one of my favorite artists. I have a lot of her stuff, and my Beetlejuice Big Boy print that I have on my shelf is from Lucky. I love her stuff. So I did buy a couple other things from her, including this t-shirt, which I have loved this art piece for a long time, and so I'm glad to have it in a form that I can wear. I don't know if you can really see it, but it's like a pin-up skeleton gal carving a bunch of different faces to wear. She's headless and she's got all these different head options to put on. Really happy with this purchase. And then if you've watched my purse collection video, you've seen my I Love Spooky bag that looks like the I Love Lucy emblem. That is also from Lucky Hellcat. I think I mentioned when I did that video, I bought it the first time she made it. So she's made 3 or 4 rounds of it since then in different colorways and vinyls. But the first time she made it, they like actually cut the letters out of the vinyl. And unfortunately, now that I've had it for like 2 or 3 years and I wear it almost every day, the letters have started to kind of fray around the edges. So I ended up buying a new one from her because in the latest editions, she has started embroidering the lettering onto the vinyl, which makes it a lot sturdier and just means it's going to stay nice longer. This one's also, you can see it's kind of a silver glitter rather than my old one is black and white. I didn't know how I felt about that at first because I wear a lot of black and white, so I liked that the white went with a lot of my clothes. But as far as aesthetic and this looking like the I Love Lucy logo, I love that it is kind of in grayscale. I think that's really cool. This does have a crossbody strap on the inside that hooks here. And this one, which I don't believe my old one has a little loop on the back here as well for making this into a backpack, which is really nice if you're going to conferences and things. So y'all knew I would come home with a purse or two, and this has been my favorite bag that I own. So I'm happy to have one that I know is in good condition, and I'll still probably wear the other one until it just like falls apart around me. But I'm glad to know that I have a backup one for the day that happens. And then speaking of purses, the one thing I knew I was getting going into Midsummer Scream is this purse from Backstitch Bruja. She had announced prior to the weekend that they were releasing this bag at Midsummer Scream, and the minute I saw it, I was like, well, I have to have it. It is this beautiful, I believe it's called the Father Death bag is what she calls it. It comes in, I believe, white, and then this green and pink as well, and oh my god, I love it so much. Yvette, who owns Backstitch Bruja, made a point when I was buying it to be like, I'm surprised you're not getting the pink. But for those of you who are like Scream diehards, you know that this green looks like the Stab posters. And so I was so excited to see, I'm always excited to see Stab merch, literally all the time. Like anything that looks like Stab merch, I want it. So I was very excited that she did this in the iconic Stab green. I don't know if it was on purpose. Knowing her, probably was, but either way, I'm excited. This bag, like all of her bags, is crazy well made. It's got a nice like handle up here if you want to carry it just as a handheld, because you can detach the crossbody strap, but I love that the strap also has the pop of green around the edge. And per usual, her bags have something fun going on the inside always. So this one has like a green blood spatter lining, which is so cute. And again, like all her bags, it does have the option to be converted into a backpack as well. I believe she still has some of these available on her site in different colors. If not, I'm assuming she will probably restock some point soon. So keep an eye out for these because, I mean, come on. I'm honestly proud of myself that I made it out of Midsummer Scream with only 2 new purses. For me, that's really good. This is just the coolest. I didn't pay any money for this, but this is my picture that Christine McConnell signed for me. So cute, and I was so excited. This is my favorite photo that she has staged and done. I think it's so cool and spooky and vintage and just awesome. If by some chance you follow me and you don't know who Christine McConnell is, please go check out her channel and everything. She is just, wow, she's incredible. She's immaculate. I am so thankful that I got the opportunity to meet her and speak with her. And now I have her and Elvira's autograph in my office, which is so cool. Now, the last thing I actually can't show you yet because it's not here yet. And I will definitely do like an unboxing when it arrives, but I wanted to talk about it now because this is maybe my favorite thing ever. It's a very cool idea. So I bought a dress from a company called Sanatorium Emporium, and their slogan is "Crazy never looked so good." And we love them because on the back of their brochure, they put that they are proud to be woman-owned, LGBTQIA inclusive, and size inclusive, which is all we can ask for, correct? So I went on their Instagram and everything, and this is a pretty new company. I was really shocked to see them there because I was like, how have I not heard of you? But then I looked into them and it looks like they really haven't been around that long. But basically what they do is create dresses and suit jackets, formal wear, that can be converted into straight jackets. And I think that's pretty much the coolest thing ever. I will show you this picture I have of the dress they had on display that drew me into the booth. So this is the dress that I ordered. They are making it completely bespoke to my measurements. They measured me there. I get to pick the fabric and the finishes and all of that. Once we have that, I will definitely be doing a live unboxing video and like show you guys what that looks like on. The quality is stunning, so pretty, so unique. My understanding is that, I don't remember who they said they like work for, but they had to to go to like a gala and they needed formal wear, and so they all decided to make these formal straitjackets to wear to this event, and then they made the decision to start selling them, which I'm so glad they did. I cannot wait to see mine finished, and I can't wait to share it with you all when it gets here. So that is everything, I think. I might have missed some stuff because honestly, I'm still kind of unpacking. I got sick basically as soon as I got home, and so I'm still trying to like kind of put the pieces back together. Thank you all so much for being patient for this video. I know I've been gone for almost a full 2 weeks now. It's been so frustrating to not feel right and not have my voice, and to have to quarantine when I want to be out there Halloween decor hunting and stuff with y'all. Really been a bummer, but I am really thankful that it wasn't worse than it was, and that Taylor and I are getting better each day. I'm really hoping to have a new decor hunting video out for you in the next week. So thank you all for your patience with me while I regain my health and my strength. That being said, if you're new here and you're not already, please consider subscribing to the channel before you leave today. I typically put out a new video every week, and we are in the height of Halloween season, so you're not going to want to miss a single video. Thank you so much again to HelloFresh for sponsoring today's video. Remember that you can get 16 free meals plus 3 free gifts at the link in my description box below, or by going to hellofresh.com and using code MidgeMunster16 at checkout. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. And until next time, keep it campy, kooky, glamorous, and spooky. Bye.
When ghosts come out to social.